The roar of the crowd is deafening. Thousands of fans are on their feet. The energy in the arena electric, their voices merging into one chaotic symphony of anticipation. Flashing lights streak across the stadium as cameras zoom in on two figures standing opposite each other. Both legends, both warriors, both forces of nature in their own right. One is a relentless, undefeated grappling machine, a man who has dominated every opponent who dared to challenge him. The other? A ferocious powerhouse, a destroyer of men with fists like sledgehammers, known for ending fights before they even began. The world has seen great battles, but nothing like this. Nothing like Khabib vs. Mike Tyson. The sheer absurdity of this matchup is what makes it impossible to ignore. A clash between eras, between styles, between philosophies of combat. It's not just a fight. It's an event, a phenomenon, something that shouldn't be possible yet. Here it is, happening right before our eyes. How do you compare a man who suffocates his opponents with a relentless ground game to a legend whose very name once sent shivers down the spines of even the toughest fighters? It's the ultimate battle of discipline versus destruction, strategy versus sheer brutality. Khabib Nurmagomedov, the undefeated MMA champion, has built his legacy on breaking men. His opponents don't just lose, they crumble, physically and mentally. His pressure is unlike anything the fight world has ever seen, an unrelenting storm that no one has ever survived. He drags his victims to the ground, suffocates them under his weight, and forces them to surrender. It's not just skill, it's dominance, a calculated dismantling of anyone who dares to step inside the cage with him. But tonight, he's facing something different. A different era, a different animal. Mike Tyson is no stranger to breaking men either. But he does it in seconds, not rounds. His punches are not just weapons, they are executioners. A single right hook from Iron Mike in his prime could erase careers. He didn't just fight, he demolished. Fighters who thought they had a plan, who believed they had a chance, found themselves staring at the ceiling before they even knew what hit them. His presence alone was enough to make opponents question themselves. But tonight, he's facing someone who doesn't break under pressure. Someone who has never tasted defeat. As the referee calls them to the center of the ring, the world holds its breath. The tale of the tape has already been analyzed 1,000 times. Experts have debated it endlessly. Tyson's power, Khabib's control. A boxer versus a grappler. A force of nature against an immovable object. Every prediction, every analysis, every opinion means nothing now. Because in a few moments, we'll have the only answer that truly matters. The referee gives his final instructions. Tyson, eyes locked on his opponent, his body coiled like a predator ready to strike. Khabib, calm, composed, calculating his every move before the first second even ticks away. The energy in the arena is suffocating, the tension thick enough to slice through. The moment has arrived. The bell rings. And then Tyson moves first. The moment the bell chimes through the air, his body explodes forward like a missile, fists cocked, ready to detonate. The crowd barely has time to process it before he's already inches away from Khabib, launching a right hook with enough force to end the fight instantly. But Khabib isn't there. His instincts, his years of training, his unshakable composure, it all kicks in at the perfect moment. He ducks just enough, weaving to the side, feeling the heat of Tyson's fist as it slices through the air beside him. A fraction of a second later, Khabib shoots forward, hands grasping for Tyson's waist, his signature takedown attempt in motion. But Tyson is no ordinary opponent. He knows this is coming. He pivots, using the strength in his legs to sprawl just enough to avoid being taken down immediately. He hammers a short uppercut towards Khabib's chin, a punch that has folded giants before. Khabib barely manages to shift his head, the impact grazing his jaw but not landing flush. The sheer force sends a shock through his system, a reminder of the power he's dealing with. But he doesn't back away. He never does. Instead, he tightens his grip, his relentless pressure forcing Tyson to stagger backward, his balance momentarily off. The crowd is on edge. No one has ever seen these two forces collide like this before. Every movement feels monumental, every exchange a battle within itself. Tyson's raw aggression versus Khabib's calculated approach, each moment a test of whose style will break first. The energy in the arena is unrelenting, a hurricane of cheers, gasps, and disbelief. But this fight is more than just brute force and technique. It's a clash of ideologies, of two men shaped by entirely different worlds. Khabib was raised in the mountains of Dagestan, molded by a culture that values discipline above all else. His father, a legendary trainer, built him from the ground up, instilling in him an unshakable belief that victory comes through control, through patience, through relentless will. To Khabib, fighting is not about anger or emotion. It's about domination, about making his opponent submit not just physically, but mentally. Tyson's path, however, was forged in the fires of chaos. He grew up in the rough streets of Brooklyn, where survival wasn't a choice, but a necessity. He found his way into boxing through desperation, through the guidance of Q's D'Amato, the man who saw past the anger and molded him into the most feared fighter in the world. To Tyson, fighting was never just about winning, it was about destruction. He fought with a fury that came from something deep, something primal. The ring was his sanctuary, his battlefield, the only place where the demons of his past were silenced by the sound of his opponent hitting the canvas. And now, these two worlds have collided. Their histories, their philosophies, their very essence of combat being tested in the purest way possible. Tyson regains his footing, his eyes burning with focus. He knows Khabib is trying to drag him into unfamiliar territory, into a world where striking doesn't matter, where brute strength means little if you can't stay on your feet. He won't let it happen. He feints a left, watching Khabib's reaction, then immediately follows up with a devastating right straight aimed at the temple. But Khabib is a step ahead, already moving, already shifting into the inevitable contact. His arms wrap around Tyson's body, and this time, he has a solid grip. The arena erupts as Khabib drives forward, his legs pushing with incredible force, trying to break Tyson's balance completely. Tyson struggles, his powerful frame resisting, muscles tensed, refusing to go down. But Khabib has spent his entire life training for this exact moment, understanding angles, leverage, weight, distribution. Slowly, inch by inch, Tyson is losing ground. The former heavyweight king grits his teeth, trying to free an arm to strike, but the pressure is suffocating. And then it happens, Khabib executes a textbook trip, shifting Tyson's weight just enough to send him toppling to the canvas. The sound of his body hitting the mat reverberates through the arena like a drumbeat of history being made. The crowd roars, the tension reaching an unbearable peak. Khabib is on top, exactly where he wants to be. But this is Mike Tyson, and Mike Tyson doesn't surrender. With sheer animalistic power, he twists, he thrashes, using his incredible explosiveness to create a moment of space. It's a second, maybe less, but it's enough. His right arm is free, and with all the force he can muster, he launches an elbow toward Khabib's head. It lands. Not cleanly, but hard enough to stun him for just a fraction of a moment. Tyson doesn't hesitate. He twists again, his strength like a coiled spring unleashing at just the right moment. In a blink, the fight has shifted. Khabib is still on him, but now Tyson is scrambling to his knees, his fists tightening, the hunger in his eyes returning. The crowd is in disbelief. One mistake, 1 second too slow, and Tyson is about to make him pay for it. Tyson surges forward like a man possessed, his instincts sharpened by decades of war inside the ring. His body is built for destruction, and now, even on unfamiliar ground, he's fighting back with the raw, terrifying power that made him a legend. Khabib's grip is still there, but it's slipping. For the first time, the unshakable wrestler feels the tide turning, the weight of Tyson's sheer will pressing back against his own. The crowd feels it too. The shift, the moment of uncertainty, the sudden realization that this fight is far from over. Then, in a flash, Tyson explodes. A sudden burst of energy, his massive frame twisting with unnatural speed, breaking free from Khabib's grip just enough to create space. And that's all he needs. His fist cocks back like a loaded weapon, ready to fire. Khabib sees it coming, but there's no time. Tyson's left hook detonates against his ribs, a thunderous shot that echoes through the arena. Even those watching from the nosebleeds can hear the impact. Khabib doesn't flinch. He doesn't stagger. He absorbs the pain like a warrior who has known suffering his entire life. But inside, something shifts. He's never felt a shot like that before. A strike that doesn't just hurt it, steals the air from his lungs, forces him to acknowledge, for the first time in his career, that power like this is something else entirely. He tightens his jaw, his grip instinctively locking down again, knowing that if he gives Tyson even an inch, another punch like that could end everything. But Tyson isn't waiting. He smells blood, and a predator never hesitates when the kill is near. He twists his body, planting his feet, driving forward with another monstrous right hand aimed straight at Khabib's temple. If it lands clean, it could be the end. But Khabib, even rocked, is still Khabib. His reflexes, honed through years of survival, take over. At the last possible moment, he ducks barely. Tyson's fist skims past, missing by mere inches, and in that tiny window, Khabib does what he does best. He strikes, not with fists, not with brute force, but with control. His arms lock around Tyson's legs, his entire body driving forward with the kind of precision only a lifetime of grappling can produce. Tyson's balance is ripped away from him in an instant, and this time there's no stopping it. He crashes down onto the canvas, his body slamming against the floor as Khabib moves with terrifying efficiency, climbing on top, his weight pressing down, his grip tightening like a vice. The crowd is in a frenzy. One moment, Tyson was seconds away from landing the shot of the century. The next, he's trapped beneath one of the most suffocating top games the sport has ever seen. The contrast couldn't be more stark. One man who has spent his entire career knocking opponents out in seconds, now stuck in a world where knockouts don't come easy. Tyson grits his teeth, his breathing heavy, his muscles flexing as he struggles to free himself. He's never been here before, never had to fight like this. But then, something changes. His mind, usually fueled by pure aggression, suddenly sharpens. A memory flashes, an old lesson from Q's D'Amato, the man who built him, who always told him that true champions adapt. Tyson wasn't just power. He was a student of combat, a thinker. And right now, he needed to think. He stopped struggling wildly, stops wasting energy. He shifts, inch by inch, his legs twisting just enough to find leverage, his arms framing against Khabib's weight. Khabib feels the shift, knows Tyson is adjusting, trying to find a way out. He tightens his hold, but then something unexpected happens. Tyson rolls. Not recklessly, not in desperation, but with purpose. Using his sheer core strength, he bridges up, his legs pushing, his arms shifting an explosive move that sends Khabib momentarily off balance. The crowd gasps as Tyson manages to turn, shifting onto his side, his massive frame twisting with raw athleticism. Khabib clamps down harder, his instincts screaming to hold position, but Tyson doesn't stop. Another push, another roll, and suddenly he's halfway free. Khabib adjusts, but Tyson is already moving again. This isn't normal. No one escapes Khabib like this. No one powers through his control with sheer determination. Yet, here it is, happening in real time. Tyson, the boxer, the knockout artist, is surviving. Not just surviving, fighting back. And then, the unthinkable. Tyson gets to his knees. The crowd erupts, the atmosphere electric with disbelief. Khabib is still latched on, still controlling, but Tyson is upright, his body tensed like a spring, his fists beginning to clench once more. A boxer on the ground is vulnerable. A boxer on his feet? That's where they are most dangerous. Khabib knows this. He knows he can't let Tyson fully stand. But Tyson, fueled by years of defying expectations, isn't giving him a choice. He plants his foot, his body twisting with unnatural power, his right arm suddenly free, and then, with all the force of a lifetime of war, he swings. A devastating uppercut, fired from the depths of Tyson's soul, aimed straight at Khabib's chin. And in that instant, time slows. The entire world holds its breath. The punch is coming. It's inevitable. A shot that could change everything, that could redefine the fight, that could send shockwaves through history. But will it land? Or has Khabib already planned his next move? The answer is just seconds away. The world seems to freeze as Tyson's uppercut rockets toward Khabib's chin, carrying decades of destruction behind it. It's the punch that has ended careers, the kind of strike that doesn't just knock opponents down, it erases them. The crowd is on the edge of their seats, knowing this could be the moment everything changes. But just as the fist is about to land, Khabib moves. Not back, not away, but forward, closing the gap in the blink of an eye. The punch scrapes past his jaw, grazing him, but not landing flush. It was close, too close, but Khabib's instincts, his years of training, his ability to adapt in impossible situations have saved him once again. And now, Tyson is exposed. That fraction of a second, the briefest moment where he committed to the strike, has left him open. Khabib seizes the opportunity like a predator striking its prey. His arms shoot forward, his body crashing into Tyson's like an unstoppable wave. There's no room left to swing, no space for Tyson to escape. Khabib's grip tightens around his waist, and before Tyson can react, his feet leave the ground. The entire stadium gasps as Khabib hoists Tyson into the air with frightening ease. For a man who has spent his career throwing world-class wrestlers around like rag dolls, lifting a boxer, even one as powerful as Tyson, is second nature. And then, with the force of a man who refuses to be denied, Khabib slams Tyson down into the canvas. The impact shakes the arena. Tyson's back hits the mat hard, his head snapping back for a brief second. Khabib wastes no time. He moves like a machine, shifting his weight, trapping Tyson's arm, And before anyone can fully process what's happening, Khabib has him in a mounted position. The crowd is in shock. Tyson, the most feared knockout artist in history, is trapped beneath a man who has never known defeat. Tyson struggles, his muscles flexing, his breathing heavy, but Khabib is relentless. He controls the wrists, prevents any attempt at striking, and begins to work his way toward a submission. This is where Khabib thrives, where he dismantles legends, where he makes the toughest men in the world feel helpless. Tyson bucks, tries to turn, but Khabib is already a step ahead, locking down his movement, suffocating his space. The crowd senses it. The end is near. Tyson has survived longer than anyone expected, fought back harder than anyone could have imagined. But this is Khabib's world. And in his world, there is no escape. Then, the moment of truth. Khabib transitions seamlessly, securing Tyson's arm, locking it in place. The dreaded armbar is in. Tyson, despite his strength, is trapped. The pain shoots through his body, his arm hyperextended, the pressure unbearable. For a brief moment, he resists, teeth gritted, eyes blazing with fury. But then, reality sets in. There is no way out. Silence falls over the arena as the unthinkable happens. Tyson's hand, the same hand that has knocked out legends, the same hand that built his legacy, hesitates in the air, then taps against Khabib's leg. The fight is over. The referee dives in, separating them instantly. The crowd erupts, half in celebration, half in stunned disbelief. Khabib rises to his feet, emotionless, his hand raised in victory. Tyson stays on the mat for a moment, breathing hard, staring at the ceiling, processing what just happened. Then slowly, he sits up, looking at Khabib, his face a mixture of exhaustion and something else respect. Khabib extends a hand. Without hesitation, Tyson takes it. A moment passes between them, something unspoken but understood. Two warriors, two legends from different worlds, meeting in battle, testing themselves at the highest level. There is no shame in defeat, not here, not tonight. Only respect. As the crowd continues to roar, as the commentators struggle to find the words to capture what just happened, Khabib steps back, allowing Tyson to take the spotlight. The boxer, the warrior, the legend who refused to quit, stands tall. Even in defeat, he has reminded the world of who he is. Then, with a smirk, Tyson looks at Khabib and says, just loud enough for the cameras to catch it, run it back. Khabib, for the first time all night, smiles. And just like that, the entire world holds its breath again.